Good morning, good morning. Oh, I think it's working. I can never tell. Oh, there it goes. Hi. I think there's a bit of a delay on Facebook today. Yeah, we'll see how we go. Good morning, everybody. I'm going to use this deck today. I'm going to use the line starter today because I haven't used it in a while. So, Monday. No, not Monday, it's Sunday. I should know this. I'm not at work. It's not Monday. Oh my gosh. There have been some big words that have come up for me this week that I just wanted to, that I've started to explore a bit more deeply, which is a bit of a frightening thing, to be honest. This is definitely a personal thing, but it's always, the things that personally come up. Good morning! The big personal things that always come up for me seem to come up for everyone at sort of at the same time. I feel like I'm quite tapped into what's going on with everyone in, whatever collective sense there is. And that word for me today is intimacy. Now, it's not like a relationship thing. It's not a sexual thing. It is just almost intimacy with yourself in that sort of respect. When you feel intimacy for yourself, when you feel connected with yourself, then you can expand and spread on that. It's a big word. And I know that there's a lot of it's a tricky word. It's a very tricky word because immediately, like for me even, I immediately go to that sense of intimacy between two people, in a romantic relationship or a sexual relationship. But it is much deeper than that. And, again, is this something that we miss? I think it's something that humans do miss quite a bit. Losing my cards here. I think it's something that humans miss, sort of the definition of it, or at least for them. So if you write it down, what does intimacy mean? For me, it's a closeness. It's closeness as things develop and not... Me personally, if I start getting close to someone, I have this want to push them away. I have a real fear of intimacy, which is ridiculous, I love being with people. I really do, even though I'm an introvert. When I'm actually with somebody, I don't do big crowds very well, but if I'm one-on-one with somebody, even like a client, even, someone, a colleague, there's an openness that happens. And that is sort of that intimacy point. I'm going to sit on one foot here. Okay. So, tricky word, but I'm going to pull another word because that's not how I want to start my day, with tricky stuff. I'm sure the next one will be really tricky. How are you guys going? Are you guys well where you are? What's happening? Where's my pen's not working. Where is it? There you are. What is going on in your part of the world where you are? We have our elections coming up soon here in New Zealand, so there's been a lot of focus on that politically here, which will be a really interesting thing. And no names, I will talk generally. Somebody told me yesterday that they think that depending on what happens in our election will be a very good indication of where the rest of the world heads. I think it's quite interesting, quite an interesting concept. Now, I'm just going to choose one of my words, and please let me know if these words bring up things for people. I get messages sort of after the fact from people saying, wow, that was spot on for me, let me know, because I feel like I'm just rambling half the time. So if it does resonate, please let me know, because otherwise I'm like, I don't know if I'm reaching anybody by doing this anymore. You know. So let's see, what other word can we find today that is not intimacy? Ooh, enthusiasm. Why does enthusiasm comes out a lot out of this deck? Am I missing my enthusiasm? I think enthusiasm. What have you felt enthusiastic about this week? Or what is coming up that you are enthusiastic about? Where is your enthusiasm? I love that enthusiasm. I struggle with some of these words. Enthusiastic. For me, enthusiasm isn't something that's, it's deep down for me. It's really deep down. And it only comes out in specific instances when I need to sort of rally troops. This last week, through my work, we've been photographing lots of schools. My enthusiasm when I am photographing schools is stupid, ridiculous. Kids laugh at us, because we are enthusiastic. We're gonna do your silly photo now, and I'm in the background like, yeah, and that is not. People think I'm this like super high person of super energy, and I am sometimes, and I'm super enthusiastic about photographing and doing stuff, and then I get home and I'm just like, so certain parts of life you can tap into that, right? Woohoo, says Mom. Woohoo. Is that your enthusiasm? There's my mom's enthusiasm. Woohoo! It was sunny this morning. Now it's gone all cloudy. Boo. Better not rain. Whoop, 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 whoop. Losing cards left and right. Mom, do you have any questions? Since you're like the only one here. I love it when you're the only one here. Whoop. Yeah. I can't shuffle. I know your question, Mom, is going to be like, when is Donald Trump going to be kicked out of the office? Wow. Yeah. I see nothing for those sorts of, yeah. I don't even go there. I do hope I get another refund check, though. That would be nice. All right, I'm gonna pull 2 cards. Five of Swords. Now, I think you can see that. Yeah, I can't see myself half the time. The Five of Swords is, you can just tell by the look of this card that it is just, it's done. Things are just done. People are over this. People are over what they're feeling. They're just exhausted. Absolutely exhausted and shattered, and looking at life from this really negative perspective. And I can completely resonate with that and look at that and say, yeah, I think as a collective, as the collective consciousness, as what exists out there in the thought patterns of humanity, we're all shattered. We're all over it. We're all just sick and tired of battling. We are just at the point where we're not done. We still have our armor on, but we're not done. It's not going to be done for a while. But the point being that our focus, so exhausted, mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, just over all of the shit that is going on. When we need to refocus that we have the Ace of Swords. And so it begins again. And this one, I love this card because it's like, you know, the bald eagle. It is much more focused. You know, we sort of reached that halfway point of where we are, and we have to go back to the beginning. We have to go back to sort of not where we started, but we reach this point and we have a better understanding of where we're at. We have a better understanding of how things are happening, how it's like going into a new job. And after about 2 weeks, you sort of have a grasp of some of the things and you go back to where you started and you have a bit more focus. You know, because I mean, you look at the sort of eagle or a falcon or any of these sort of birds of prey, you know, they're very predatory, but they're very proud. And so you go back into this idea of, okay, I have this to do and I have this to do and I have that. Awesome. I have focus. I know where to put my attention. So once we're beyond the exhaustion side of what we do and what we think, we take a few steps back and we have a bit more focus. My understanding of and what I see for a lot of people that I sit with is this a bit of a reset. A bit of a reset. It's not a reset, it's a reset. I almost want to say, so what I see for people is a map. And that map, you know, say you have a blue line in front of you in your map. That was totally a Google thing. You've got your blue Google line. You have a lot of different options in front of you. Sometimes you have this option, and maybe this one and this one. And then we take not the wrong one. We eventually, you know, we do get down the track, but that option might have been the wrong one. It's not the wrong one, it's just sort of misguided. So we go back to the intersection that we had those choices from. And now that road is no longer there. We already took it. We had that option. We took that option. We go back and we say, okay, well, what options do we have? That's not where I want to go, but I still want to go this way, but I just don't want to go this way. So we look at the options that we haven't chosen and we have a bit more focus on where we want to go. So when we take that step back, it becomes a bit clearer. So it's not a total reset, it's just a bit more clarity and it's a bit more of that laser focus. And so that's actually something quite positive to look at, especially when we're down and out and feeling like shit and exhausted and not in a good place. We say, you know what, no, just no, I'm taking a break. I need to just go back and say, okay, I was sort of on the right track, but I wasn't on the right track. What tracks are left? You know, what are my options? That's where that comes into sort of that, and into that it is sort of like a reset in a way. I'm going to pull 2 more cards, and this is for something else. I'm going to say this is a completely different piece of the puzzle. There's a lot of us, and this is the channeling part that I do that we all love so much, where the words come because they're triggered by the images in front of me. This is how it works. The 6 of Wands, I'll show you the cards first, and the Ace of Cups. So I think that's the right way around. The white way around. The 6 of Wands and the Ace of Cups. The reason why I knew it was a different topic, this is a completely different thing for me. I'm going to explain why. This, you can see the tones of the cards are quite different. The next part of it, it's definitely a set, right? So this is how I see it. The 6 of Wands is typically about recognition. We want to be recognized and we want to be honored for what we are, what we do, who we are. We want to be recognized for that. We want to say, we want people to tell us, like, yes, I believe in what you do. I think, you know, your thoughts, your ideas are valid. You've made a difference in people's lives. You know, we all sort of strive for that. This is why I do this. You know, I want to make a difference in people's lives. We want that recognition in whatever shape or form that is. You know, I know, Mom, Joyce, you are very much the type to help out in church, you know, to make a difference in people's lives, to push yourself, to help. You know, this is what we do. This is what I've learned from you, is that, you know, some of our shit we put on the back burner until, you know, we are people pleasers, but it's a whole different topic. We want to get recognized. We want to be recognized for the things that we do. And what we want to be recognized for is something very simple. It's the simplicity of our own emotions. We want to be recognized to make ourselves feel better, to make ourselves feel proud. There's lingering thoughts that stick with those emotions, though, that need to be dropped away. They need to drop away for us to sort of push through into a space where we can be recognized. And it's not for anything too complex. It's very simple. It is for, you know, we are recognized for holding the door for somebody. We're recognized for helping someone get their groceries out of their car. That's the simplicity of it. You know, we're not being recognized for this great Nobel Peace Prize actions that we're taking. And if it comes to that, awesome. You know, but that's not why we do the things that we do. We want to feel recognized because we want other people to feel recognized. When we see other people, they see us. This is part of the human condition, is that we don't feel validated unless someone else can validate with us or for us, or, you know. So we take those little simple actions and we share little bits of ourselves with people to be able to feel that, which I think is completely valid. You know, it's valid to be validated. It's, you know, people are like, oh, you should be able to validate yourself. And, you know, and absolutely, absolutely. But when you want to help people, you need that validation. I mean, to keep going. You know, I mean, some people are very confident in the way that they work with society, that they don't need that, and so be it. That's amazing that you can do that, but a lot of us do need that sort of little push to be able to be like, you're doing a good job. So let those little parts be part of you being seen. This is you being seen, and these are the simple little things that are pushing you along the way. You know, it is that those little actions, those very simple actions. Now, I've just pulled 2 more cards, and I'm just going to read them as they come up. So, the 6 of Swords is about leaving those things behind. We're talking about leaving some of that negative stuff behind. It's about moving on. It's about moving on to something better and bigger and lovely. It's about making sure that you are taken care of and that you are taking care of yourself and your loved ones. It can be a heartbreaking experience to push on. It can be a very heartbreaking experience to leave some of those things behind, but it's for the best possible. It's for the better. It's for the good, right? People are not going to agree with what you're doing. They never do. They never agree with what you're doing. So, Seven of Wands is, even though you are high up on your pedestal and you are doing what you feel is right, you're going to get some backlash. People aren't going to be happy. Here, I'll show you this card. There's a lot of bickering. You know, it's like King of the Hill. You shouldn't be up on that pedestal. That is my place. People are not going to be happy with the fact that you're able to move on. But you're able to contain that emotion. You're able to fixate on the good things about it and the wonder of when you move on, when you push through. There's a connection with yourself that seems natural. That seems really natural. So in this we have the Queen of Cups, and she is able to work with her emotions in a very mature, very nurturing way. So as you are getting pushback from all of these people saying, you know, you've got to stick with this and you've got to do it, you can sort of just have that pushback and you can say, look, I need to be here for myself right now. And this is a very wise thing to do. So in this one, we have the Nine of Pentacles. I'm just going to keep drawing cards because this is what's happening today. The Nine of Pentacles, you have somebody who is very wise, a woman who is very wise and very confident and quite, there's wisdom and confidence in their sexuality and their being. It's yeah, man, I strive for the Queen of the Nine of Pentacles. But there's that sense that you are completing yourself as you take those actions, as you let those things fall away and you push forward, even though everyone is just like, what the hell are you doing? It's not their life either. So, sun's coming out. It was cloudy. So as we sort of move forward on our little boat away from past issues, past experiences, and we've learned and we take what we need and we move on from that exhaustive point, we learn how to manage ourselves and manage our emotions and become the things that we really want to become. It's the things that we want to become, and it's the things that we strive to become, and it's the things that we're meant to become. When we lose decades and decades and hundreds of years and centuries and millennia of conditioning, you know, this is on the bigger, wider scale of things. When we lose that, we are able to become exactly, you know, what our soul's purpose is. And when we reach that point, that's the reset. So it's a reset, like you said before. I'm going to go back here. Where are my cards? It's a reset with the Ace of Swords. So we are beyond the point of exhaustion. We have that laser focus. We know that we want to help people. We know that people aren't going to be happy with the actions that we take, and when we want to move on, sometimes moving on is helping people. Disconnecting from certain people or relationships or circumstances or situations, that is moving on. That is bringing a sense of recognition to yourself, and we're able to manage our emotions through that. And then we are back at our reset. So there are so many things. The Fool is the very beginning of the deck. We start again. We start on that new path. We've gone back to where that intersection is in our life path. And we say, I've taken that road. I'm not taking that road again. What other options do I have? And that is where we reset. Now I'm seeing there's images that keep coming through, and it's a bear. So if this makes sense to anyone watching this down the road, go for it, take it, use it. There's a bear, and it's almost like a polar bear, but I don't want to say a polar bear. It's just a white bear, and he's fishing, and he's got salmon, and he's adjusting himself to a new way of being. He's adjusting himself into a new situation, learning new things, learning the ways of different cultures and different societies. If it's a polar bear, the ice caps have melted and he's living up in Canada somewhere, fishing for salmon. When we find those people and those beings that don't belong with us, they do stick out like a sore thumb. A white polar bear in the forest fishing for salmon is going to stick out. But he's taken that path. He's had to reassess, and he's left his home and he's left things behind, and he has to learn new things, and he had to go back and say, right, where do I go now? I don't have many options. These are my options. And the bear is someone that is very protective. You know, I always think of like, you know, I consider myself like Mama Wolf, but I also consider myself like Mama Bear. You know, protective as hell. You do not fuck with my people. You do not fuck with my family. Readjusting to something like a big change like that is traumatizing. It is sad, but because we look at it from a human perspective, we see it as traumatizing and as sad. The bear is just like, I just need to eat. Where can I find some food? So he goes back and he understands that he has to, you know, adjust. Or he doesn't understand it, he just does. As if there is a feeling of sadness with that we have lost so much when we take, where's the card? When we take this aspect. This is actually a very sad card, to be honest. You know, you've got the, and a lot of the times you don't actually, you know, it's maybe like the mom and the child getting moved to somewhere else, leaving things behind. And those emotions, you know, I mean, that regret and that sadness, you know, it comes from part of being a human. You know, I don't know if bears experience those things. I'm sure they do, you know. I think most of us can, you know, understand that most beings on this planet actually do have a consciousness and have an understanding of life and death. And, you know, we just haven't understood that from their point of view. So if we take the bear and we move on, it is sad. It is very sad. But we just keep moving on. The reset is something emotional and nurturing and caring and has to be done. We don't, it's that situation that we don't have control of our outside being, you know, the beings outside of us. We don't have any control over what other people are going to do. We can only set the example of what we expect from them. A bear can't set an example of, dude, you don't drive a car to go get milk a block down the road. So, I mean, well, actually they do. But if we're able to set those examples, we can alleviate some of the sadness, and we can push for our own well-being and say, look, this is what brings me happiness. This is what brings me, you know, this is what brings life to my soul. And we push for that. I'm going to draw 2 more cards. So this card makes me laugh because I always think of one reading that this came up as, and the person was like, do I need to become a vegetarian? Maybe. Do we need to become vegetarians? I just always, this is my vegetarian card. You know, maybe, maybe vegetarianism and veganism is the key to climate change, right? But no, the Ace of Pentacles is starting again in your physical self. It is starting again. It is going back to square one and feeling these things that make us happy, you know, like your energy centers, you know, what makes you happy, you feel that, you know, you feel things in your solar plexus, you feel things in your heart. It's about reconnecting with those things. If you get out into nature and you put your hands here and you breathe and you can take some of that with you, I think that is amazing. So it's about reconnecting with the absolute simplicity of being a person. You know, it is starting from scratch. It is starting all over again. You know, it goes back to that reset. It's everything. You know, it's about changing your lifestyles. And the Knight of Cups, he just brings about a bit more of that emotional connection. When this happens, when these happen, for me personally, when this happens and I'm able to sort of be outside and just do a quick breath or something and not get people looking weirdly at me when I'm like meditating out on this, like out in the woods or something, I feel this reconnection with my emotions. So those two, you know, your Ace of Pentacles and your Knight of Cups are so connected. No, sorry. No, Mom's not going to be a vegetarian, are you? I don't think I can either. I was, but I don't know if I can do it again. You can dabble in vegetarianism and veganism because some of the stuff is amazing. I mean, really. So yeah, your Knight of Cups. Maybe you could just be a pescatarian. Just fish. Eat fish. Chicken and fish. These two together, I look at these two and I get like this little stream. This vision of a very small little stream. Connecting, this is obviously my visual. This is what connects me back to nature and to Mother Nature and to the respect that we have for nature. If you are able to meditate or have a few quiet moments near water, just try to do so. Try to understand your want to do that. I am always drawn to water. I'm always drawn to water. Like, I am a nature baby, but give me the sea. Not to be in, to watch. To see it from a distance. I love to watch water. And that is something that brings me a lot of peace. So if you're able to find something that brings you peace after all of the exhaustion and the refocusing and pulling back, and you're able to sit and look and watch how something like water that covers most of the planet, that fills us, can just flow effortlessly. we start to understand that part about ourselves, about being in that flow. And with that, I come back to this word. Seeing the water. Not fighting against each other and just sort of, you know, undulating and beautiful. That can bring that sense of enthusiasm. It's refreshing, it's beautiful, it's lovely, it brings about so much for people. It can be calming, it can be reinvigorating, it can be everything. So if you have a bath, if you can put your feet into the stream, if you can wade out into the ocean, or go swimming in a lake, and just be surrounded by that. The boys asked me a few days ago about babies, do they wee in the tummy? How does that work? And I was explaining to them that they are in like this sac, and they're filled with like, the amniotic fluid, and they're filled with like this watery substance. So like when we're being created, we are in water. We are, that is part of what we are. We are formed in this watery world. And I think when, as humans, if we can get back into that, it's sort of just, that's our reset sometimes for a lot of us. So if you can get into the water, go for it. Have a bath. Get into the ocean. Get into a lake. Mom's up on the island. You won't go into the ocean. Just go walk into the ocean, like up to your knees, before it gets too cold. But it is August, so it's beautiful there, right? It's nice. Anyway, all right. I am starving today. I need to go get some food. So if there isn't anyone else coming along, I may turn this off and go for a little wander myself. Maybe down to the ocean. We'll see. I'll pull one more card. One more. And this will be for the week. The week ahead. Want to be able to feel what we're going to do for this next week. This next week is a bit more, I feel like it's going to be a bit more chilled out, hopefully. These last couple weeks have been pretty intense for a lot of people. There's been a lot of shifting. There's been a lot of shifting this whole year. So if you are feeling weird and wonky, it is completely normal. Everyone is feeling this weird and wonkiness. It's all good. You're not alone. If you have any strong feelings that you can't work out, message me. We'll talk about it. So, I've got the King of Swords for our card for this week. He's a good king. He thinks a lot, and he thinks on his feet, and he thinks quickly. So this week, we need to start listening to our intuition a bit more. And we need to do it, we need to trust it. Just like we would trust a good king. There's not many of them, so let's be our own good kings that do what's right and do what immediately, if you're in a situation and that first thought, that first answer that comes to mind for some of us, for me it's like the third answer. If we can quiet our minds enough, it'll be the first answer. I can't quiet my mind very often. We go with it. We go with it and we understand that we are making the right decisions. You know, we go with those gut feelings. But we also have to think logically. We also have to think quickly, logically, but with our own gut feelings. So if you can do that this week, that's what we are being called to do. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. And I'm sure there are lots of people out there that are into the astrology side of things that will say, oh, this is in retrograde and this star is with this planet, and all of these explanations of why these things feel this way. And I completely understand that, and it does resonate. A lot of it does resonate with me, but I won't go into that. But I feel like there's a lot that'll be coming around this week. Just remember, you have the ability to reset yourself and to pull back. So this week, if you have to make that decision to be able to pull back, then listen to your gut and do what's right. So I enthusiastically thank you for coming along. If you watch this later, thank you. Yeah, not much else going on this week. I will be here hopefully next week. Yeah, I'm gonna go for a wander. I hope you have a lovely week, and I hope you enjoy whatever sun and beauty you can enjoy. You enjoy it and you take it as something that is given to you by higher powers and all of that stuff. I don't even know. If you have any questions or comments, message me. If you want me to cover something specific, you know, if I know a lot of people are going through issues, so if there are enough emails to say, let's talk about the, I will talk about it. So just let me know and I can help out. Thanks, Mom. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. And go and enjoy your day, your Saturday, your Sunday, or whenever you are here. Thank you so much. And we'll chat soon, all right?